concert venues, and promoters. Soon after, the consolidation of the studios and the media. Within a few decades, these companies had control over everything. The concepts, everything that was written, produced, distributed, and eventually consumed. Albert Einstein once said, "Everything that is great and inspiring is created by the individual who can labor in freedom." As artists, we believe that the free flow of ideas is vital to a strong culture. It is long past time for a new, independent entertainment ecosystem. An ecosystem that is not governed by gatekeepers and the corporations, but rather by those who create and consume it. At Creato, we are building that new ecosystem. A system that will empower filmmakers, musicians, entertainers, and podcasters to freely create and distribute all of their content in one location. A system where they can control their earning potential, protect their intellectual property, and engage directly with and build communities around their loyal fans. As we begin the next phase of development, we are reaching out to you to help us fund this next step. Right now, you can become a founding member of Creato and get a lifetime membership when we launch this year. We would love you to be a part of this, to restore freedom for all artists, including filmmakers, musicians, comedians, writers, producers, podcasters, and things that don't even exist yet. We believe that the future of entertainment will be delivered here on Creato.
How's it going, everybody? This is the Alpha Warrior Show. I'm your host, Alpha. An amazing, powerful guest tonight. Yes, you guys, this is Alpha's presenting Ladies Week. Some of the most powerful and influential women in media and social media. And what better way to kick that off with the Patriot Barbie? That's who you guys want to see. That's who you guys want to hear from. You don't want to see my ugly mug on the camera. But before we get there, Alpha's got to keep the lights on. So we're going to go to a quick Mike Lindell commercial. And on the other end of this, I will have for you guys the Patriot Barbie. I hope you're ready. It's going to be a good one.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The MyPillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, MyPillow 2.0. When I invented MyPillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. MyPillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature-regulating thread. MyPillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of MyPillow.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Love you, Mike. Even if you're going to be a creeper in our medicine cabinets. Lindsey Graham, a.k.a. the Patriot Barbie. How are you doing tonight, ma'am?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Now, real quick, do you have any promo codes with MyPillow or Mike Lindell?
I do. I'm glad you asked. Patriot Barbie. Imagine that.
I want to make sure we get that out there because I'm looking on my screen and it looks like we are connected to your feed. So
I've been hard at work while your intro was going, and I'm like, I think we're streaming on my YouTube. This is a first. This is a first for me ever in my entire life, just so you know. I've never, ever gone live on YouTube.
Really? Well, this is super cool. So that means your audience is in for a treat as well.
They're like, what? It's her? Really? Not an Instagram reel?
Well, for Lindsay's audience, thank you guys for joining me. For my audience, the Patriot Barbie, you guys. So, Lindsay, this week I'm doing nothing but just powerful conservative women, not people that just tweet, or not just people that women that are actually like in this movement, fighting for freedom. You are starting our week. You're kicking it off, and your story says it all. The government tried to shut you down. and you said to the hell no. So why don't you tell my audience and your audience, if they've never heard it live, what's your story?
Yeah, it's an interesting comment that you said my audience, because I feel like my Instagram has grown so much in the last probably like 6 months to a year. And some people don't realize that I'm the same person as the salon owner. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm not just the cat lady, and I am not just the Patriot Barbie on Instagram. I opened my salon in 2020 in Oregon. I had a 5,000 square foot salon, 25 stylists. My husband and I had 6 businesses, and we shut down like pretty much America the first 6 weeks, and it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. And finally, we looked around at the life we had built and said, we are going to lose this if we stay shut down. And our governor was not opening us up. She kept dragging it on and on. Oh, maybe this week and maybe this week. And anyone that owns a business knows that you need that money coming in to support your family, and you need that money coming in to pay the bills on the businesses. So we had 6. So I opened up my salon and told my girls, you can work, I'm going to work. And I believe that the government doesn't have the right to take away that ability. So since I was probably like the second or third in America, this is before Ian Smith opened his gym in New Jersey. This is right after Shelley Luther opened her salon in Texas. The government, specifically Kate Brown in Oregon, made a complete example out of me. I endured the torment of the government for 10 days straight as they tried to threaten to throw me in jail, take away my license, take away my business license. They sent CPS after my children and threatened to remove them from my home. I got a $14,000 OSHA citation. I have $80,000 that the city is trying to send me to collections for my rent. This was all 3 years ago, and the BS has been called, and yet I'm still being held liable for those fines. So that's how I got my political movement started. We got cancel cultured so bad in Oregon by Antifa, BLM, the media, that we moved to Arizona, and basically God rewrote my story and said, I don't want you to be a stylist. I don't want you to do anything else. I want you to be a voice for the conservative movement. So that is exactly what I'm doing.
No, absolutely. So OSHA even came after you.
Oh yeah, OSHA was the first one to come after me. So Oregon Safety and Health something association, they came to my door before I even opened. They heard that I was going to open on the news, and they came. So I opened on May 5th. On May 4th, they came to the salon while I was cleaning and said, if you open, we're going to fine you. And I was like, okay. And what if I stay open after you fine me? Then they said, we're going to give you a $70,000 citation. We're going to red tag your doors. Everything will be locked up. This facility will be deemed unsafe. I'm like, dude. So then I didn't realize, I mean, honestly, like at this time, I didn't realize what a story this was. I was not a political person. I was not politically active. I was not following orders by God. I just literally was like, I have a right to work. I'm going to open, and that's not controversial. I didn't know people would be against me. I didn't know people would think it was heroic. I just was literally like, I'm going to do hair. And it blew up. I mean, people started sharing that I had shared on Facebook. I wasn't even really on Instagram at this time, that I was going to get a $70,000 fine, and I didn't know what to do. And someone was like, we'll give you a GoFundMe. And so the money was raised. It was certainly raised. And I didn't even have all of the money, but I was like, I think around 20 grand. I thought, you know what? I'm going to open anyway. People are counting on me. This has kind of become a thing. And I don't think I'm going to get the citation. And if I do, I think people are going to support me and help me pay it. So I just kind of opened in faith. Never got the 70,000, got the 14,000, which I thought was really strange, right? You're saying that if I open, that provably, legally, that is cause for red taping and red tagging my door. And I opened anyway. I not complied. I cooperated with Oregon OSHA, let them do an interview with me and everything. They could not prove that I had employees, because this is all about employees, right? They could not prove that I had employees, and yet they fined me anyway, but they didn't fine me the full 70,000, which I think is very interesting. Like, you made the threat, but now, like, well, you don't have the means to back it, or you're just wanting to fine me with something, anything at all.
So they must have had their bean counters behind the curtains going, do we, if
Do
we
the full
pull the
70.
trigger on this one, how's it going to look for us down the line?
Yeah, they're probably like, okay, well, her GoFundMe is at like 25,000, so let's just find her the 14 and then she'll pay it and shut up. And I'm like, no, you don't know me that well. I still haven't paid that dang thing. I'm not paying it. I'm not paying it.
Good, good.
Everyone's like, just start a GoFundMe and we'll pay it. And I'm like, I don't want your money to pay for that. I don't owe that. Fine. You know, it'd be like you're driving down the street going 25 and a cop's like, you were going 40. And you're like, no, I was going 25. You would go to court. You do what you got to do. You're like, I'm not admitting guilt to something I didn't do. My salon was never dangerous. Nobody ever got COVID. I literally, to this day, I'm still not even sure I got COVID. No one got sick from COVID in my salon. So
It
sorry,
is.
not paying it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what are they going to, if they were to go to court, especially with all the information that's out there right now, how do they even remotely think that they win that case?
I
For
know.
me, it's like, no, it boomerangs and you get to go after them for a big
Yeah.
chunk.
Like, proof alone right now for me to win this case, in my opinion, is that COVID still exists. Like, they're saying it still exists, right? It didn't go away. There wasn't a big press announcement. Hey, we have obliterated COVID. It is no longer existent. So technically, then, shouldn't every business still be shut down? I mean, it still exists. So what in the world gave you the authority then to shut me down because COVID existed? And now when COVID exists, it makes like, that's my only argument. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Well, I'm in California, so we're in the same boat here on the West Coast
Yeah.
with the way their liberal philosophy is. And look at all the awards. Hollywood didn't shut down.
No.
They said their award ceremony. So it's like what
That's right.
COVID's like. Oh, this is a Hollywood event. So
Now,
let's
we
go.
kill people, but only poor people. We don't kill celebrities.
We don't go after. I'm COVID. I don't go after politicians and celebrities and sports personalities.
If you're wearing any type of designer apparel whatsoever, you are safe. That's better than masking. Should just put Prada on.
If you're wearing Prada or what's the other one, Balenciaga, I know I'm
Louis
gonna.
Vuitton.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't wear that stuff.
Yeah, that's the
I wear
whole.
hats that say Savage.
I know. I like it's a badass hat.
Thank you.
So, what was it like with the other businesses around you? Were some of them kind of looking to you like, all right, I want to do it. Let me see how it goes for her, or did some of them kind of just condemn you in their own shame, like you shouldn't be doing that?
Well, the liberal people certainly condemned me as quickly as they could. I don't know if they ever learned. I don't know if they'll ever learn. Like, no matter how many facts come out, they're sticking with their story. But I kind of struggle with like how it went down. The goal was, hey, everybody, let's all open up. Like, if we all open up, they can't do anything, and if we all open up, we prove that we can operate as a society safely. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I open up by myself, and I'm like, all right, well, I did it. So hopefully once you guys see that I did it, you'll come alongside me and open up afterward. Well, that backfired because I was so targeted by the government. Everybody was watching what was happening to me. And it was, I mean, I'm not joking. It was, we're going to kick you out of your building. And then when that didn't work, we're going to issue you $50,000 a day fines. That was Oregon Health Authority. We're going to issue you a Class C misdemeanor. We're going to take away your hair license. Oh, we're going to take away your business license. Oh, we're going to send CPS after your kids. The only organization that didn't come after me was the police. And I was like dreading the day when they were going to show up and throw me in jail. But everyone else was watching this happen. And instead of going, yeah, let's open up and like come alongside her and support her, it was like, ooh, she's going to lose everything. I don't want to open. Like, they watched me get tortured, and that made them more fearful, which I ultimately believe was the purpose of the government targeting me so ferociously and it was all over the media. It was global news. Every single threat I got was global news. And so it effectively made business owners more terrified to open than it did empower them.
I have such a huge amount of respect for patriots like yourself and Ian that were, at the front of this. Because it's one thing, you've seen, 20, 30, 40 people doing, you're like, I'm going to jump in. But when
Yeah.
it's less than a handful of people and you're just like, no, I'm going to get in this. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to lead from the front. It takes a lot of courage because the government is going to be like, we better squash this bug right now
No,
before it picks up momentum.
little did I know. Well, they're still trying. I mean, they've sent me notices. I live in Arizona. It's 2023. It hasn't even. It's been almost 3 years since I reopened against lockdowns. It's been 3 years since the actual lockdowns. They started March 23rd, so in 3 days it'll be the anniversary for Oregon. They are sending me notices saying we're gonna put a lien on your home if you don't pay this 14,000. And by the way, it's at 9% interest now. It's occurring 9% interest. And then 2-3 months ago, they sent me a letter trying to garnish my bank accounts for it. Like, I don't even have a job now. I mean, I do, but it's like you're trying to go after me for money that it's just a pride thing. Like, you just want it. You know that it's not going to do any good. It's not going to teach me any lessons. They just want to keep harassing me, I think.
Tell them, take it out of my cut that's going over to the Ukraine. You can,
That's right.
you
That's
can have
right.
that money. So, but I heard you say that they even got CPS involved. How do you use a business fine to go after your kids? I didn't know that part of your story.
Yeah, that was a really, really big part of my story. I would say that that's what made it blow up. It was about the third day that I was open, and allegedly, a claim came through Child Protective Services on the day that I opened. The claim came through, so you can imagine how coincidental that is. I have 3 kids at the time. So this was 3 years ago. They were 6, 3, and I had a newborn. He was 8 weeks old, and never, ever in my life will this ever happen to me again, or had it ever. So magically, all of a sudden, CPS gets an anonymous call with all kinds of false allegations. The person on the phone admits to not knowing who I am and admits that these are all basically secondhand stories about me. And there were secondhand stories flying around my community. Weird things like people saying I was in a restaurant taking $100 whiskey shots. Oh, she was so annoying. I'm like, I don't even drink whiskey. Like, and why is that story relevant? Why would you need to make up that story? That's so weird. It's like she's using the GoFundMe to buy whiskey. And I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody's bored. We need to open up the country because the liberals are making up stories now about me drinking whiskey. If you would have said wine, $100 bottle of wine, that would have been believable. So yeah,
I would have said, what bar is it? Since there's a bar that's open.
Oh yeah, no kidding, right? Thank you. It's like weird. They don't think these things, they're stupid. But yeah, so all the allegations were weird and fabricated. And if you knew me, you would know that they wouldn't even make sense, these allegations. But sure enough, CPS screened the call, gave it a thumbs up. Yep, this looks like a valid case. Let's push it through. Went through a second screener. Oh, yep, this looks valid. Totally not valid. And they not only pushed it through 2 screeners, they put a rush on it, a 72-hour rush. So they made sure that a CPS agent was at my home within 72 hours of me reopening my business. Not coincidental.
So just for the audience, so they can understand, because I did law enforcement for about a decade and a half, and you have these, CPS reports that have come through for immediate response, and some that, get to it within 10 days. So to make it qualify for that immediate response, there has to be an urgency there, like some type of imminent threat to that child, some type of actual abuse that's taking place. So, I mean, this is kind of the stuff that they're doing behind the scenes to target you. An audit of that would be really interesting to see how many reports came through at the same time yours did, and which ones were marked, urgent, and which ones weren't. Because you can audit that stuff, while blacking out, redacting the names and the privacy that's there. And I bet you we see a pattern of no. We know exactly why yours made its way to the front. So what ultimately happened with that?
So the CPS agent came to my house. He questioned he was 3. Let's see, no, he was 6 at the time. My 6-year-old son in his room without me present, which I found out later is totally illegal. He refused to let me in the room with him. My 3-year-old was at daycare. I think she wasn't there. And then my baby was 8 weeks old. He checked my baby's diaper looking for an alleged bad diaper rash. It was so strange. He said, I want to come back and interview your 3-year-old. He went out to his car after searching my whole house, looking in my cabinets, my fridge, my toilets, went out and made a phone call. At that point, I was like, he's going to come back in and they're going to close the case. Like, this is obviously a healthy household. He came back in and said, yeah, I need to interview your daughter still. And he gave me the forms that basically warn me as a mom what the next steps are if we remove the children from your home. I lost it. I mean, I lost it. That was the moment where I thought, I cannot do this anymore. I got to close. Like, I can't have my kids taken away over this. So that lasted about 24 hours. I called my attorney, told him what happened. And he's like, you realize this is just more government abuse. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? So naive. You guys, I was so naive. He said, no, this is the governor literally pulling strings and saying, get this through, get her. So I called the CPS agent and I said, all communication needs to go through my attorney. Don't communicate with me anymore. And sorry, I have this tickle. After he got that, we filed a tort claim. And a tort claim, for those who don't know, means save your files, save your evidence, save all documents pertaining to this case because we intend to take legal action against you. And so you cannot destroy documents. So we filed that. Within 24 hours, I got a message saying your case has been closed. And I was like, for there was not enough evidence. I'm like, shocking.
It's amazing. For the audience that doesn't know, when you work in a public service capacity, you're protected when these lawsuits come through, so long as you don't operate outside of department policy. Mm-hmm. You operate outside of department policy, then you, the individual, the employee, can also be sued. So these CPS workers, these other public employees, they need to pay attention because they will come after you, which is probably what happened here. I do want to add something else before you go on too. And always, research your local laws, but I can speak for about, I would say at least 95% of the country. You have no legal obligation to speak to CPS when they come to your guys' door.
That's right. Yep.
So just so you guys know, CPS cannot take your kids. So a lot of people think CPS, no, there's only 2 entities that can take your kids. Law enforcement in California, it's a 310 form, probably another form in other country or in other states, or a judge. So if CPS wants to take your kids, they either have to have a cop come along with them, say, hey, look, this is what we saw. And then the cop will make that ultimate decision and sign the form. And then they'll give the kids to CPS. But technically, it's law enforcement that's taking away the children. Or CPS goes before a judge. You may think, well, my house is orderly. My kids are good. This is a good home. So I'm going to cooperate. They will take things out of context if you're a target. Now, 10, 15 years ago, I would have said just cooperate. But in the state of lies that exist with our government right now, you just can't trust them. They come to the door. They come to the door and just say, hey, look, I'll bring my kids to the door. You can see that they're alive and breathing. And that's all you get. You want to come back with a warrant.
That's right. And you know what? You're right. I know better now. And a lot of people reached out to me and said, don't let him in your house again. Don't let him in. And I said, okay, I won't. I did. I was living under the fear of like, well, this is a government agency. I have to oblige. I have to comply. And they will, like you talk about the state of our nation. Your kids could say, oh, my mommy doesn't get us vaccinated because she thinks that, like, they could take anything out of context, anything at all. And they could say, well, she's not giving them appropriate medical care. If your child says, my mommy doesn't believe in vaccination, anything like that. So now I'm so glad I know better. I'm not giving anyone access to my children.
No, I'm glad. And it's just nice to know. As soon as they got the information, they were like, okay, this case is done, dismissed.
Yeah.
So you go, how long did you keep up the fight with the business before you ultimately moved to Arizona?
So I never did close down. And I would love to point out that remember all those things they listed? Oh, we're going to issue you a Class C misdemeanor, take your license. They never did any of that stuff. It was all BS. It was all crap. It was all empty threats. The reason that I didn't get arrested and get a Class C misdemeanor and get my business license taken away is because they didn't have the authority. They literally did not have any authority to do any of those things. They were blowing smoke and they were bluffing, and I called their bluff. And I'm, to this day, that's the one thing I'm proud of is I was like, I've read the OSHA book. I've read the Oregon Health. I know what I did to get my hair license. Nowhere in it does it say that you can go and take these things from me. So what ultimately closed me was, and this is probably something you don't know because the news would not cover this. I became a target for Antifa and BLM because the media had then painted me as this far right, white supremacist, extremist, grandma killer. And now Antifa was sharing my photo and taking pictures of me because I never enforced masks either. I opened up, I stayed open. And later when they had mask mandates, I was like, nope, we're not doing that. Like my patrons get their freedom. They can wear it if they want to. And so people were taking all the time videos and pictures of me in my salon. She's not masking people. And I'm like, ooh, like it's already on the news. Everyone knows. So Antifa, BLM, the media, all stalking me. The George Floyd riots started. And somebody either from Antifa or from BLM said, burn down Glamour Salon first and kick Lindsey Graham's ass. And I was getting that sent to me all night. I was at home with my family. I was exhausted. I'd been like fighting the government for freaking 10, 12, 14 days. And then I get this. Oh, all right. BLM's going to burn my salon down. Okay, well, certainly can't let that happen. So I did a public call to arms on Facebook, and it got shared a lot. And 400 people showed up outside my salon for the first BLM peaceful protest, right? And we had, to be honest, we had Proud Boys, motorcycle gangs, 3%ers, military, ex-military, ex-police officers, veterans, you name it, men, women, other business owners. We actually ended up spreading out outside of the whole downtown Salem because 400 people wouldn't fit in front of my salon. And I had business owners calling me and saying, I'm not home this weekend. I don't want my business burned down. Can you send people? And I was like, yeah. So I'm like running ops, like, you guys, you three, we need you to go covert to whatever sugar candy shop. And it was wild. There was so much around that event that went viral. A picture of me holding an AR, a guy yelling racial slurs out the window. Turns out he was Mexican, Antifa, but he yelled the slurs outside my salon. So I got blamed for being a white supremacist. The cops told my guys, hey, we're issuing an 8:00 curfew. So that applies to you. So you need to either be in the salon or in the parkade. You can't be on the sidewalk or it's going to look like we're playing favorites. Well, that video went viral and it's like, the cops are playing favorites. I'm sitting at home going, could anything else happen outside my salon that could go viral surrounding this event? And I'm not even there. No. So we got mad cancel cultured. I don't know if anyone knows how bad cancel culture is except me. Like, a petition was started to revoke my business license because I was a threat to the community. 85,000 people signed it. I was put on a white nationalist boycott list. I was labeled a white supremacist, and my picture was posted everywhere as a racist. I had, picture this, all 6 businesses had Facebooks, Instagrams, Google pages, emails, phone numbers, Twitter, like whatever, everything, every social media, a Yelp account, all 6 businesses, plus all my private business accounts. Every business, every minute, every day for about 5 days was getting death threats, hate mail, slander, name calling, vile messages to every business on every platform, emails, texts, phone calls, My husband was getting messages from people of like sexual content saying like, I hope your marriage is healthy because I did this, this, and this to your wife 2 years ago. And it's like, he knows I didn't. So I'm like, how dark and demented do you have to be to go to this extent? They were getting online and booking fake appointments for my salon for all my stylists all day, every day. So we would show up to work and we wouldn't know if we were actually working. Like it was costing us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So my stylist started leaving my salon because, I love you and I know you're not a white supremacist, but I can't work here. Okay. And then I had girls who were like, I can't work with you. You're a white supremacist. And I'm like, okay. Let me introduce you to my best friend who's black and all my black clients. But yeah, totally white supremacist. Why my husband's gym, which we had just opened, started getting cancellations to the point where our co-owner was like, you guys, I have to buy you out or something. Like, you can't be. We got cancel cultured. We literally moved to Arizona. And I hate when I say literally, I say it way too much. We moved to Arizona because we could not survive in Oregon. We had just put $100,000 into my salon because it was supposed to be the forever location. We just built a custom home on acreage, which we had saved for 5 years for. I just had a baby. We just bought a new SUV to cart around all those kids. We had just spent our last bit of savings to buy a boat because we'd always wanted to buy a boat. We'd worked very hard for 15 years with all these businesses. I have no shame now in saying like we had all these nice things because we had gotten to a place in our life where we could afford them. And then we lost everything. I mean, we were at a point where the reason I reopened was because we were like, do we sell our boat to pay the bills? We just bought this boat. We didn't want to close down. We didn't ask to close down. Okay, now what else do we sell? What are we going to do when we have to pay our mortgage in 3 months after being closed for 3 months? We're going to owe 60 grand. So then to turn around and be canceled to the extent where I didn't have a career anymore. I went from a 6-figure career to like, I'm not going to survive. Stylists aren't going to come to my salon. I've been slandered and labeled. It's too controversial. The gym is basically needs to close unless we sell it. Like we were done. We were just done. So we had no choice but to pick up and move and rewrite our life. But it's been the best thing that's ever happened to us.
No, absolutely. It's to hear the magnitude of the way they came after you and your family just because you stood up for something that was right.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you told your clients coming in, I don't wear no mask, so you can't. You give them the choice.
Right.
You want to wear it? Wear it. If you don't. Like, that's what this country is about. And it's just terrible to see how quick people become weak. Other stylists to be like, well, no, Lindsay, you're racist now. Even though I've been working here, I knew this. No, they're telling me you're racist, so now I got to go.
Yeah.
It shows the difference. Everybody says in the next couple of years, I hope people understand the definition of what it is to be American, what it is to be a patriot.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen a lot of people, that'll wear a hat with the flag or wear a hat like yours that says savage. But when it comes down to it, they're not about that. They'll cower so fast to what the government wants. And here's the thing. Most of us have already lived at least a third, if not half of our life. But we're not standing up for what's coming behind us, our kids and our grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to hand them this life where the government tells you what to do, what the government tells you where you can work or how your medical freedom is going to be. I mean, that's insanity. It's crazy to me. But even with all that, you guys just kept on trucking.
We kept on. We
didn't bow.
No, we didn't bow. That's something that I'll never regret. If I would have caved, if I would have bowed, this would not be the story that it is. It wouldn't be empowering the way that it is. And I will say that I got here to Arizona. I had no idea what to do with my life. It was the strangest phenomenon because I'd always been such a confident, driven, purposeful entrepreneur, strong suited and well equipped for whatever came my way. When we got to Arizona, I enjoyed the pool. and the Trulies by the pool for a few months. And then I went, all right, okay, what am I going to do with my life? Like, okay, it's time to start over. And I tried to do real estate, wasn't my thing. I tried to do hair again, lost all passion for it. I didn't want to start over doing hair. I had built an empire in Salem. I was the most successful I probably could have been. And so to think about starting over, it was just daunting. And when I wrote my book, which is so cool, you have it on the bottom there, ticker, that targeted, God very, very clearly told me through 3 people to write a book, which I thought was the most ironic calling, because I'd never written a book, nor had I ever intended to write a book. And he used 3 different people and told me very clearly to write a book. So I sat down, started writing on this very computer that I'm talking to you on, and ended up writing my whole kind of life story. In my 20s, I made some horrific decisions, which I pay the consequences for every single day. And I did not want to tell those stories, nor did I think they were meaningful, because they were in my 20s and had nothing to do with defying government lockdowns. But as I wrote, I really, really felt like the Lord leading me to tell these stories, because in my heart, as I'm writing, I'm understanding, well, I did get to be this really strong person because of this, this, and this. Well, I can't talk about how I became a strong person without telling that story. So I guess I have to tell it. And you've got 3-4 chapters in there that are about my 20s and some very disruptive things that I did to myself. And they're as juicy as you could possibly imagine. Just imagine juiciness. That's them. And so I'm like, all right, I think this book is my testimony. So, maybe it'll never be a bestseller. I don't care. I believe that I sat down to write it because God used that time, that quiet time, to tell me, I've been preparing you your whole life. Yes, including that situation. Yes, including that one and that one, for this. And I truly believe that we are all living in this time for a purpose. And praise the Lord, God so distinctly spoke to me, told me to write a book, and pointed out to me what my role is in this fight. And it has gone from a non-political, quiet hairstylist who believed in God but didn't talk about God, to the forefront of a war that I believe is spiritual, social, and political, and having the ability to lead it because I can't be canceled anymore, because I was already canceled. I got nothing to lose. Like, people make fun of me all the time for plastic surgery on my face that I didn't get, but my big lips and my lashes and my whatever, you name it. And I'm like, I don't care what you have to say about me. Do I care? I've been called every name in the book. You can make fun of me all you want. My identity isn't in you. My identity is in that I've finally found who I am as a daughter of the King and what my purpose is. And nothing will kick me off of that. That is way more powerful and purposeful and meaningful than anything I was doing prior to 2020. And it's beautiful. So I'm in. I'm in this the long haul. If they thought they were going to break me in 2020, they had no idea who God had created me to be. I am unbreakable.
Perfectly stated. As a matter of fact, because the audience and Rumble loves you, I will do my best to get this name right. It looks like SD Cereal, but it says appropriately, Patriot Barbie has a powerful beauty for ashes. God story. God bless you, Lindsay. So here's the thing. So many of us, if somebody would have told me 5 years ago, Alpha, you're going to be doing a podcast, I'd have been like, you're nuts. I'm going to be jumping walls, chasing bad guys. There's no way I'm going to be doing some stupid podcast. Get out of here. But, I always tell people God's plan is flawless, not painless.
That's right.
And once you start to recognize what the true path is for you and the impact you have, I remember, after I think it was the 3rd or 4th episode, I had a lady email me, and she was like, I tricked my husband into watching your podcast, which alone was funny to me. I was like, how did that happen?
Why did you have to trick him?
But she goes, but he told me he's not going to get vaccinated now. And she was so happy about that. So I was like, you know what? Right there, in my eyes, that's a life at least saved from, injury or something. What can you say to me after that? It's already served its purpose.
That's right. And you have no idea who that guy is. What if that guy himself is called by God to something bigger? And if he hadn't heard you and gotten vaccinated, had a heart attack, had blood clots, hospitalized, unable to speak, who knows, right? We're about to get censored. They're going to cut us off. You said vaccinated. You said blood clots. Who knows what that one podcast did, if not save him from not finding his purpose. Like, when you really, really know that God is doing things behind the scenes and working even when we don't see it, it's incredible to think about what could happen from one conversation, one Instagram post, one podcast, one sentence, one statement, one speaking event. It's incredible.
I agree completely. Now, we all have heard the saying, behind every great man is a great woman. So let me ask you this, Lindsay. Behind every great woman, it sounds like there's a great man too. How has life been for your husband? Dare I make the joke that his name is Ken? And
His name is Ken. Yes, I'm
if
just
it
kidding.
really is all that's just wild. But
That'd be
how
wild.
how was this for him? Kind of out there, still feeling the ripples of these choices. I mean, did it weigh on him to like, hey, hon, are we doing the right thing?
Mhm.
Was he the one pushing you? How taxing was it for you guys as a couple?
You know, God bless that man. I think he handled it. I can't imagine him handling it any better. Any better. When I said what I was going to do, he kind of was like, if you think that's the right thing. And I'm like, do you think that's the right thing? It's like, I support you whatever you decide. And yes, I think that this is unconstitutional and I don't know what to do about it. All right. So he supports me. And then if I would say, like after CPS, I said, I think I got to stop. And he said, if you think you have to stop, but I'm going to support you, whatever you do. All right, I'm going to stay open. Okay, all right, I support that. I mean, he just kept supporting me and supporting me. And even after we lost everything and moved to, there's never been a moment where he was like, well, we wouldn't be in this position if you could just stayed close. Like, never.
That
And
that
even
is
when we
such
moved,
a that alone is such a powerful statement, because even some of the strongest couples probably
Mhm.
wouldn't have got away with not throwing some, like, we're
Yeah,
kind of
little
going through this
jabs.
because, yeah,
Yeah.
so what a man.
Yeah, and it gets better too. We moved to Arizona and I went through my identity crisis, which I totally downplayed, but it was seriously an identity crisis. And decided I think I'm going to do this Patriot Barbie. And by the way, I got to tell a story about Patriot Barbie. I'm going to do this Patriot Barbie thing, whatever it is. I feel like we went through something that is astronomically unique, and God would never allow us to go through something like that so that we could brush it aside and move on. I think that I have to pursue whatever this is. So I started praying, all right, Lord, open the doors that you want me to go through. Please, please, please shut the doors that you don't want me to go through. And I am telling you right now, God slammed perfectly open doors in my face, that there is no reason that there are certain things that shouldn't have propelled my real estate career to the max, right? And yet the door was slammed. Like, okay, where else would you like me to go then? And then political doors kept opening and social doors. And before you knew it, I was like, I am certainly supposed to be pursuing whatever this is. And it costs money to donate to political figures and to attend their campaign rallies. And we live an hour from Scottsdale. I feel like everything's in Scottsdale. I was driving this gas guzzler, spending all kinds of money to go be Patriot Barbie. And he was like, okay, all right, if you feel like you have to do it. Yeah, yeah. And trying to rewrite our life and knowing that at one point I was the breadwinner making six figures. Now I'm not only not making that money and have no intention of making that money, but I'm spending all of yours trying to be Patriot Barbie. And it took some kind of, there was some times where he was like, well, I don't know what you're doing, but all right, let's just get through it. And just this last year has been so incredibly powerfully revealing as God shows me that I'm supposed to be a public speaker. I'm going to be speaking at events, conservative events, pro-life events, women empowerment events all over the country in the next year, and making very big appearances. Book sales are up. Clothing, we launched a clothing line, those with the hat, huh? See, that those sales are up. God has just sort of made a way finally. and said, I've been so faithful and so committed and so trusting, and always saying, I still don't know what the end of this is. I believe God is going to do something the rest of my life in this movement. And I wake up every day and pray the same prayer. Just take me where you want to take me and take away what isn't of you. And this year has been revealing where he goes, okay, all right, I think that Patriot Barbie is going somewhere. And I'm like, thank you.
And so, well, kudos to him, and that man needs to get spoiled. Find out what his favorite
That's right.
motorcycle is or something. There you go.
I think he'd rather buy some of these.
You spoil him with a lot of freedom seeds. He'll love that stuff.
Yes.
But so, Patriot Barbie, what made you come up with that final name? What was like, that's it? That's what I'm
No.
rocking.
So this is a good story. Remember how I was getting cancel cultured? Okay. I was getting pretty annoyed at cancel culture, and I had heard everything from like the lips, the lashes, the fake, the Botox, you name it. I was just like, you know what? This is really starting to piss me off. Someone made a meme. Well, I was labeled this far right Trump supporting conservative, and I'd never even said who I voted for in 2020, or 2016. Sorry, 2016 at all. But I did vote for Trump, and now I'm very proud of that. So I bought a MAGA hat. That's how not political I was. I voted for Trump. I didn't even own a MAGA hat. But they're labeling me this MAGA Trumpster. And I'm like, well, fine, then I am. So I bought the hat, took a picture, took a selfie, posted on Facebook. And of course, all the libs went nuts, right? Oh, she is a Trumpster. We knew it. And someone took that picture and made a meme out of my face and said, I don't always play Patriot Barbie, but when I do, I kill people's grandmas and I steal their money. And I was like, did you just call me Patriot Barbie as an insult? So I looked up the definition, which was, loves their country, will stand and fight for their country, all these things. And then I looked up the definition of Barbie, which you could imagine was something like the ultimate feminine, doll portrayal of femininity, whatever. And I posted those two definitions. And then I don't think I posted the meme. Maybe I posted the meme. And then I went and changed all my social media to say Patriot Barbie, just to piss off this one person, just to piss off this one person that I didn't even know. Like, you called me Patriot Barbie, and it's such a compliment. So then I'm laying there in bed picturing them just losing their mind over the idea that I'm actually calling myself Patriot Barbie. It started this whole viral thing. Oh, well, now she's calling herself the Patriot Barbie. What a narcissist. And I'm like, you literally called me that. I just took the name, ran with it, and all my followers were like, you are the Patriot Barbie. You are. So that it stuck. So 3 years later, that girl or boy or non-binary thing, whatever it was that posted that, is probably really, really angry that she called me Patriot Barbie.
She's probably eating like some glazed donut right now. So bad.
Dyeing her hair blue at home in her basement.
Like, what? Why did I mess up like that? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you did bring up something about the Catwoman.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to miss out on that before we finish up. Tell that story, because that's kind of cool.
Okay, so someone told me that there was a 72-year-old man sitting on a school board in my community that dresses like a woman, makes the kids call him Miss Bixler, and uses the little girls' restrooms at events. So not at the school, but at school events, which he goes to all of them. He's not a teacher, he's on the board, yet he attends all of the school events for every school in this community, elementary school, by the way, uses the little girls' restrooms. So someone said, Lindsay, will you come speak? And I was like, you know what? I will. It was the first school board meeting I've ever spoken at. I dressed up like a cat. I wrote a whole well thought out factual speech about how putting on a tail and whiskers and ears doesn't make me a cat, just like this man putting on lipstick and wearing a dress and piercing his ears doesn't make him a woman. And kids are smarter than that. And this is confusing them. And his mental illness shouldn't be in the school system. And it went viral, as you can imagine. So Jesse Waters picked it up on Fox News primetime. He had me appear on Fox News
I like Jesse.
a month later. And And when that happened, it went crazy. So after that video went crazy, I started getting messages from people in the community telling me, oh yeah, he uses the men's locker room at the gym. And I'm like, well, that's weird. What gym? No joke. It's my gym. It's the gym that I go to. That's how close of a community this is. And I'm like, he does not. So I'm thinking, oh, if I catch him going in the men's locker room, I'm taking a video because I'm going to show the school, hey, I think it's weird that he uses the men's restroom here, but when it comes to little girls, he uses the female restroom. Expose the crap out of this guy. Well, lo and behold, he had decided to use the women's locker room. And I was undressing in the women's locker room and he was in there. So I had my top off. I got dressed. I know who this man is. I know he's a man. He looks like a man and he is a man. I called the police. I'm like, I know he's a man. He had gone on the news 3 nights prior, whining about being targeted for being transgender by his community. And of course, they played multiple clips of me and my speech at the school board. So I'm like, he went on news and said, I finally am able to address my true feelings. You went on the news and said that you're a man, and now you're in the women's locker room at my gym. I called 911. So then that went viral. And I don't know if people know this, but unless you're following me on Instagram, he filed a harassment injunction against me and obtained a harassment injunction against me, trying to silence me, trying to keep me out of my gym, out of my locker room, a no contact order, which I'd never contacted him anyway. So now I have to go to court, file a motion to appeal because I have a harassment injunction against me for speaking out against him at a school board. He's an elected official and calling the police when he was in the women's locker room as a man.
That is Jesus, man.
It's upside down world.
This conversation always just shocks me. 20 years ago, we see an adult man go into a little girl's restroom. Every man in the world is going to go full blown lion bear on that guy because we know how wrong it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're letting the government and people with a mental illness tell us, no, it's perfectly fine. It's normal. I mean, it's.
And a small percentage of society actually agree. A very small percentage agrees with this. A very small percentage would say, I don't know where the line is, but I think that a man should be able to use the women's locker room if A, B, C, D, and E. The other rest of society is staying quiet because they don't want to be called a bigot, which I think is complete BS and cowardice. And not one man at that gym, not one man stepped in and said, she's right. I've seen him in the men's locker room. How can you be a man one day and a woman the next? Like, which is it? The people that stand by and are furious about this happening, but yet won't say a word because it's uncomfortable, you are the ones that I plan to blame later. Because the very, very tiny 1% that thinks this should happen, they're not making it happen. They're not allowing it to happen, right? It's already happening. If we rise up against it, it will stop happening. But the ones saying he should be able to use the gym, the girls' locker room, they're not forcing him into it. He's going to do it anyway. They're not making a difference. They're calling me bigot. They're calling me transphobic. I don't care. Who cares if people call you names, really? But we're talking about, I have a 6-year-old daughter. I am not going to let her in any public restrooms now alone, ever again, because we have set the precedent that the right shade of lipstick, the certain amount of makeup, the right hair color, a dress tells me we're letting you in women's restrooms. We can't trust it. I blame the people that are staying silent. I know that's probably hurtful for some of you that have stayed silent, but I blame you.
Yeah, then it should be hurtful. Mm-hmm. I tell people all the time, listen, I know the left wants to see the FBI take away my freedom. I know the Democratic politicians want to see me buried in the ground. I don't expect different from them. But if you are a God-fearing American, then you should be in this fight. You should be getting involved with it. If it's your HOA where you live or the school board or, a county seat, get involved. And for those people out there like, well, Alpha, I can't do that, because I can't afford to lose my career. Then pull your wallet out. Pull your
Yeah.
wallet out and
Yes.
support the people that will do it.
Yeah. There is something everyone can be doing.
No, 100%.
And a lot of the time, this kind of activism is or could be a daily thing. It doesn't have to be big. It could be small. But if you hear someone say something that leads a conversation towards this being okay, you insert yourself and say, excuse me, I hope you're not saying what I think you're saying, which is that if a man cuts his wiener off, he can go in the locker room. Like, he still can't abuse women. I mean, hello. Men throughout centuries have found ways to abuse little girls and women without using their genitalia. I read a lot of true crime books. But like, being active in a way that makes a change everywhere, making your opinion known so that everyone around you too knows I'm not alone. I wear shirts. I'm going to start making shirts that speak out against the transgender movement. And I don't care if I offend people, because I'm like, you need to know that this should not be controversial. It is totally okay to think. We talked about cancel culture, right? How are we cancel cultured for not enforcing masks, and yet people who want to use men who want to use the restroom with little girls aren't cancel cultured? People who think babies should die in the womb for any reason at all up to 38 weeks aren't cancel cultured. How are we so willing to let them cancel us over our beliefs, and we're not willing to even speak for ours?
We have billboards in California, big, huge freeway roadside billboards telling young girls this is a safe place to have abortions.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, it's disgusting.
I'm
one
not
thing
advising this, but I'm sitting here going, how has no one ripped those down? I mean, Antifa shows up everywhere and does all kinds of damage to innocent people, Black people, in the name of Black Lives Matter, Black business owners. They wear masks and they have not been tracked down and arrested. Masks exist. Not mask, black masks.
Yeah,
ski masks.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm not saying do this, but I'm saying, why aren't we going to the extreme? I ripped down a banner in Arizona, a 20-foot freaking long, huge, thick banner. It was up there with metal clamps. I ripped the sign down by myself because it said, abortion is normal. And I drove past that sign on the freeway and I got pissed. Pissed. We should be pissed. I got pissed. Who knows what girl is going to drive by and go, you know what? It is. I was on the verge of killing my baby, but you know what? Now I'm going to kill my baby because it is normal. This is my right. I ripped it down. If it saves one baby's life, I don't care if I go to jail for that. I don't care if I get fined or arrested for that. We should be that pissed. Antifa gets to be pissed over things that don't even exist, like racial injustice and all white cops kill all black cops. Make-believe stuff they're mad about. To go do active things that ruin other people's lives. And what we want to do is save lives, and we are not angry enough and activated enough to go do the hard things.
People need to realize one day you will be standing in front of your maker.
That's right.
And you are going to see every frame of your life go by.
And every moment where he said, remember when you saw that was wrong? Remember that instinct I gave you to do something about it? Remember how you didn't? That was my Holy Spirit convicting you and telling you that in the Bible it says, to those who love Jesus must hate sin. We get called hateful? Fine. I hate what you're doing. I hate that you're killing babies. I hate that you're cutting off kids' breasts. I hate that grown men are trying to use the restroom with my little girl. I hate it. If that's hateful, that's fine. God tells me that to hate your sin, and I do.
I'm right there with you. If you're a grown man and you're putting on a bikini and going doing some transsexual dance in front of kids, you are a sick pedophile with mental issues that needs to be locked up in prison.
Amen.
And if that hurts your feelings, I don't care. I care about the little kid.
That's right. Thank you.
And the fact that we're there is disgusting. I do want to bring up your website. Let me add it to the stream right here.
Okay.
What can people find when they go here?
And what can they not find? You're not going to find liberalism or wokeness, that's for sure. You will find, so my full story is right there. Watch is my podcast. You can watch the episodes. Shop has my Patriot Partners, my book, and my clothing and apparel. Appearances, if anyone knows an event that they want to book me to speak, that little thing right there is my sizzle reel, which is kind of summarizes my story. You can connect with me, support me, everything. My website is very well done by a professional.
Very awesome.
Anything
And the
you'd ever
book's right here,
want.
you
Yeah,
guys. Buy the
that's
book.
right. Juicy, chapter 5. I can't wait for you to read it. You're going to be like, whoa, she was not kidding about her 20s.
Said like 4 days. So I have had a lot of people are like, I got to tell you, we can do it another time. I have a story. So I'm a January 6th defendant that
Whoop,
wasn't at
whoop.
the Capitol.
Oh,
As far as I know, I think one more they've done it to recently. I'm a January 6th defendant because of my Twitter. They said January 6th was a triggering event and that I wanted to disrupt the inauguration. So the FBI went full out, flashbangs, armored vehicle, FBI, SWAT. I have zero criminal history.
oh my God.
Combat veteran, law enforcement, Medal of Valor, but they were like, so anyways.
You're a threat. You're a threat. You just listed all your threats.
And that's
to
why,
them.
I respect you and your husband so much because they offered me what people would call golden goose egg to make it all go away. Just
Oh
go and to this therapist for a year and a half and say you're wrong and Trump's wrong and it all goes away, even the rest. I'm like, you can go after yourself.
my gosh.
Like,
Good for you. Good
So-
for you. Go admit to something you didn't do.
if we don't stand up against them, who's going to do it?
That's right.
And whether people will admit it or they don't, if you go all the way back to where your business was in Salem, there are people that are going to spend the rest of their life saying, because we're going to win. I'm not saying it's going to be painless,
That's
but
right.
we're going to win.
Yeah.
And when that happens, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, what if I would have just joined the fight with them? There's a lot of people that are going to spend the rest of their life in feeling guilt and humility
Mhm.
because they allowed people to get persecuted and they knew it was wrong.
Well, and you know what? I got to say, being persecuted is a blessing. Even the Bible says to be thankful for your persecution. And I would much rather be persecuted because I'm over the target, because I am doing what's right and what's good and what's just, than to sit back and allow other people to do it and go, I wish I would have done it. And I got to say again, this fight that God called me into, he called me into it knowing that I'd be persecuted. I still wouldn't go back to my life. I wouldn't change a thing. If I could go back to Oregon and undo what I did and stay closed and my life would be the same, I would never choose that. Never. Even after everything I've been through. So these people are going to have a lifetime of regret because the adventure that we are on, filling God's purpose, is so much bigger than a mundane day to day. I stayed quiet. I kept my head down. We won, but no thanks to me. You're cheating yourself of the greatest adventure you'll ever have if you were to speak up and stand up where God calls you. You're missing out if you don't.
Agree 100%. And I like, all the way towards the beginning of when you were speaking, everybody, let's go do this. And then you show up and you look behind and you're just like, where's everybody? You know what?
Oh my gosh.
Screw it. I'm in this fight by myself.
Yeah. It's like when all your friends and your teenager, let's go skinny dipping. Everybody says, let's get naked. And you're like, you're the only one naked. Oh, well.
There it is.
Okay, well,
There it is. A story
I'm
for
skinny.
the book.
You know what? Skinny dipping was fun. I had fun. I did it, and you guys stood on the sidelines and watched me do it. That's I'm not literally, right? You guys all know I'm not saying literally. I'm saying I went and did it, and I'm having a blast following God. I'm having a blast doing it.
No, 100%, Lindsay. And, this was, so I had this idea and I was like, you know what? It's the Alpha Warrior Show. We're talking about this. We have all this, great guests. But I was like, you know what? The mama bears and even the women that aren't mamas have been you guys have stepped up where us men have needed to step up, and we haven't. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do a week of this powerful women who don't have the nuts, but have had the nuts.
don't have the literal liberal nuts. We have balls, just not those balls.
Just not those, to come out and fight for this freedom, fight for this country, to make the United States the beacon of light that it needs to be for the rest of the world, because we're not the only country that's going through these problems. And it sucks. But like I said, people like
Yeah.
yourself and the family around you have had the courage. Much respect that you have for me and my audience. So before I go to a really cool video I want to show on the way out, to all the women that are listening, whether they are mom, whether they're older, whether they're younger, what's the message you want to give to them right now?
I want to encourage people to do the hard thing, to speak up, to listen to that tiny nudge when you know something's not right, when you're afraid, well, if I say it, what's going to happen? Say it anyway. Because I'm telling you right now, if you think this is hard for us, imagine how much harder it's going to get because we've given them an inch and they've taken a mile. And now imagine that you're allowing your child to have to fight this because you wouldn't. Every parent, every mom I know says, I would take a bullet for my kid. Oh, yeah? Well, you masked your kid and you've axed your kid. And now you're not speaking up against men wanting to use the bathroom with your kid. So don't tell me you would take a bullet for your kid. This is the fight for your children. And if you don't want to fight it, imagine then having to tell your children later, well, I hope I raised you strong because now you get to fight it and it's harder. Bye. Not okay. We've got to fight this fight for our kids.
100%. You guys, the Patriot Barbie, Lindsey Graham, the cool one, not the dumb one. So I did come across this video and I was
gosh,
like,
I'm scared. Oh my God.
Yes. I was like,
Nick Natoli.
This is so badass. So
You are hilarious.
I will be playing this on the way out, you guys. For those of you who don't know, this is Alpha presenting Ladies Week, Powerful Conservative Women. Let me throw this up here real quick, just so you guys can see. Today we have Patriot Barbie. Tomorrow we are going to have Maze. Wednesday we have Morgan Ariel. Thursday we have Ashley Munoz. And then Friday, Mindy Robinson will be our cleanup hitter. So powerful women all freaking week, you guys. Make sure you tune in each day. Go follow their content. Go support them. Lindsey, it's been an absolute blast. You started our week off with fire. It will be fire the whole week.
Yay. I love strong women. I champion those women, all of them.
It's supposed to be an interesting week. So
it is, yeah.
we will see what it has in store for us. Don't jump out just yet, so I can make sure I get the proper download from you. But we will do this video and then we will say goodnight. So you guys enjoy this. This is pretty cool.
I know I did some things, girl, and I'm sorry, yeah. But the truth is that I'm looking for somebody, yeah. Someone who came out fresh from the army, yeah. So I'm looking for my patriotic Barbie, yeah. And you know I'm really on that. Looking for a woman who could really handle combat, yeah. And she gotta be all that. Yeah, I need a lady who could tell me when to fall back. Pulling up with a lifted truck and it's all black. That's a woman, Democrats don't know just what to call that. Yeah, messing with her, it goes all bad. And every time I hang up, she don't call back. Nah, you should be like Lindsey Graham. She's saving her kids from Disneyland. I'm talking about the lady here, not the man or politician. I'm really just a fan, yeah, of your morals and values and everything about you. Yeah, you deserve a salute. Don't know where this world would be without you. Yeah, we need more women like her, like we're the ground troops. And every ex-girlfriend was psychotic. And yeah, they all Barbies, but they ain't as patriotic. She brought that two-way so the girl knows how to pop it. I need a G.I. Jane if I'm really being honest. I know that it's a long list, but I'm worth it, babe. I'm looking for a woman that's conservative. I know I did some things, girl, and I'm sorry, yeah. But the truth is that I'm looking for somebody, yeah. Someone who came out fresh from the army, yeah. So I'm looking for my patriotic Barbie, yeah. She gotta stand for America, she gotta be a Christian. I really don't care if you came from the left, let me see you move it right, baby. Gotta be woke like you stay up all night, baby. Yeah, I need a reason to admire her. I'm fighting for our freedom, so I need a freedom fighter. Conservative queen, yeah, I'm looking for the right girl. And patriotic Barbie, that should really be your idol. Yeah, I can't deny it, I'm inspired. I'm looking for my woman, but I don't know where to find her. She gotta love guns and she gotta love to fire, and that's just what's required. I'm looking for an icon. She gotta have more to give. I'm looking for a woman who is targeted. You getting a hobby that could write a hook. I'm searching for a woman who could write a book. And when they called you Patriot Barbie, you flipped it. Thought that was an insult, but we all know it isn't. That's a compliment, thank the people who would give it. You know you got God as your witness. You should be like Lindsey Graham. She's saving her kids from Disneyland. I'm talking about the lady here, not the man or politician. I'm really just a fan. I know I did some things, girl, and I'm sorry, yeah. But the truth is that I'm looking for somebody, yeah. Someone who came out fresh from the army, yeah. So I'm looking for my patriotic Barbie, yeah. I know I did some things, girl, and I'm sorry, yeah. But the truth is that I'm looking for somebody, yeah. Someone who came out fresh from the army, yeah. So I'm looking for my patriotic Barbie, yeah. Yo, shout out to Lindsey Graham, Patriot Barbie. I just want to thank you. I want to thank all the women, actually, all the ladies that are out here actually doing something and being real women out here. Y'all deserve a salute, so thank you.
So freaking cool. And I can appreciate it because I got myself a badass Mrs. Alpha Warrior that holds down the fort while I do this. You guys, it's been a lot of fun. Alpha, Lindsey Graham, the Patriot Barbie, all the links for her stuff is on my Rumble description. For those of you that joined the party from Lindsay's channel, nice to meet you.
Welcome to my first live stream.
Welcome to the first live stream. Make sure you tune in the rest of the week. If you guys like what you saw here, go to the alphawarriourshow.tv or look for me on Rumble. Lindsay, we're doing the outro now, and then I will get you the link after that. It's been awesome to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.